Hey, what's up, world, and welcome to the 21st edition of the Take One podcast. I am your host, Chris, and if you haven't already, go and check out the 20th edition, which I dropped earlier this week. I covered a lot of stuff on it. It was like, it ran over an hour, but it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of stuff I had to cover. This one, I'm going to cover, like, not that many stuff. This episode isn't going to run too long. When too much stuff came out this week that I really want to cover, but I do have a few significant things that I do want to kind of touch on. Two of them specifically are big pieces of news. So with me saying that, let me get forward with the first segment of like the Take One podcast is movie notes. And so earlier this week, Monday specifically, I went to this screening where they were showing 15 minutes of Doctor Strange, just footage or whatever. It's kind of like, I guess you could say it's a long extended trailer, you know. It's everything that you've seen in the trailer plus a lot more. And I mean, I'm going off of memory because it's been days or whatever, but I still kind of remember a lot of it. I remember how blown away I was by it. But this movie, all I can say is that this movie looks like it's going to be a fantastic movie. It looks like it's gonna be off the wall. But basically, let me just basically break it down as best as I can. So it basically starts off with Benedict Cumberbatch just talking to, you know, the audience or whatever, and he's just saying, you know, how much he enjoyed the movie and blah 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 and all this stuff, enjoyed making it. And he does this thing talking about, like, you know, he has the magical powers, and he turns it from regular screens to IMAX or whatever. So, you know, he widens the screen, or acts like he widens the screen as it does. And let me mind you, this was, I saw this at a theater over there in Indiana. That's close to where I live, of course. And I saw it in 3D. So this screening was in IMAX 3D. And once that get out the way, it basically starts off with him and Rachel McAdams' character kind of like pre-accident or whatever. Because, like, if you know the story of Doctor Strange, is that he gets into an accident. He's a surgeon, so he gets into an accident, messes up his hands, and so he looks to find like ways to fix it or whatever. This is what I'm going off of the knowledge I know. I don't know too much about Doctor Strange, but I mean, so he ends up finding magic, and then he becomes this Sorcerer Supreme. But in any case, it shows kind of like a little bit of the connection and relationship between Doctor Strange and, you know, Rachel McAdams' character and all this stuff. And, you know, it was just, you know, it kind of just started out slow. Showing them in the hospital talking and blah, blah, blah. And then after that, it shows the accident. Now, mind you, this accident was freaking nuts. Like, what just kind of threw me off. Not threw me off, but what just kind of like took me out. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just the sound of just everything that was around, because the sound up in the theater that I was at, it was a surround sound. It was incredible sound. It was incredibly loud, and just the scene was incredible. And basically, let me put it out there. For anybody who don't want, and these ain't really spoilers, but if you don't want to know too much about the movie, I'd say just fast forward past this or whatever. But basically, it just shows him going down the road, you know, whatever, and he ends up crashing off. And the CG and the special effects that's used for this scene, for the crash scene, is incredible. Like, it is like one of the it looks really realistic. You know, that's the best way I can put it. It looks crazy. Like, the way that they did it and the way that they constructed it, it was just freaking... I know it's a terrible thing to say, but it was awesome just for that scene and how it looked, how everything came out. Well, came out or whatever. And then after that, it shows like a brief moment when he's up in the hospital, and then it quickly goes to when he actually meets the Ancient One. And she's basically telling him about this mystic realm and blah blah, and he's really kind of like, I guess you could say, the skeptic. Like, he doesn't believe her. He kind of like jokes around or whatever. And like I said, this goes off of memory, so certain shit could be different from what I remember. Anyway, and so she ends up like punching him and knocking him out of his body, knocking his spirit or his astral projection out of his body or whatever. And so when he comes back, it was like that basically starts the scene. And this whole scene, I mean, we've seen it in a trailer, but it's an extended scene. It shows literally when she puts him into this whole different alternate reality world thing. And it is like one of the craziest tripped out drug induced scenes that you would ever see in a movie ever. Like when he goes into this just alternate dimension reality, kind of like, I don't even know how to explain it. It is freaking weird, and it goes for a longer period of time. It's like she's talking over it, she's talking to him, and he's just flying through space. He's flying through this place, that place, getting stretched, getting thrown into these and just it's crazy. Like I said, when you see the movie, you will see what I'm talking about. Like, it is freaking incredible what they did with the special effects for this movie. And so it just goes on from that for like a few minutes and all that stuff, and then he comes back and he's like, teach me or whatever, and it is freaking phenomenal. And then from there, it shows a lot of scenes of just basically him learning how to become Doctor Strange. Like, he's like looking at books, he's talking to a monk. I think the monk name was Wong or something like that. And it shows up in this footage that there is bits of comedy, that it's not straight just seriousness. That Benedict Cumberbatch does actually crack a few jokes, and he says a few things that it has that bit of like Marvel humor in this movie, and it's not straying away from that at all, which is good. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And so it just shows like him like learning this, and just put it out there. The special effects for this movie looks incredible. I know I probably said that before, but it looks incredible. Even from just the mystic shields that he holds up and everything else, the portals, and when they open up, it looks so incredible. And Mads Mikkelsen, he looks incredible as the villain. Now, I'm not too familiar with Doctor Strange and his villains, or just the characters that's associated with him. But Mads Mikkelsen, yeah, I'm literally saying it. Mads Mikkelsen, his character looks extremely incredible. And it has a lot of action in this footage that it showed. It showed actual fighting scenes where they're actually using the mystic powers and the shields and all this stuff. And there's one scene, like, this is up in the trailer, but it showed more to this scene. It showed the scene where Mads Mikkelsen's character and Doctor Strange were actually fighting inside of this, I don't know, I guess you could say a building. And so Mads Mikkelsen's character knocks Doctor Strange off. And so it kind of like holds there a little bit, and he kind of like walks towards it, and all you see is Doctor Strange floats up. Now, I'm not kidding you. When I saw this scene, it freaked me out. Like, I'm just like, this looks awesome, because he flies up. His cape is flying in the wind. He's doing the mystical thing with the powers and stuff, and he shoots it at, yeah, I got a text, but he shoots it at Mads Mikkelsen's character, and I am just bugging out, because everything from there on just blew me away. I can admit, in the beginning, I was kind of like, okay, this looks cool or whatever, but then once it started to get to the meat of everything, it was like, oh my God, this is so good. This is so awesome. And it just keeps going with it. And it shows more of the scene of like them in the street, and, just the chase scene where the buildings are kind of like folding and collapsing on each other. And, everything is looking all Inception, and, kind of like an Inception or whatever. And it looks completely awesome. Like, Marvel, I could say, you got me on record right now, this may be a better movie than Civil War. Now, I could be 100% wrong, but this looks like It is freaking phenomenal. And really, that's kind of like all what they showed, but it was incredible. When you see the movie, you would know what I'm talking about. It leaves you speechless because it is so incredible. And like I said, this movie looks like it's going to be up there with one of the probably in I can say it probably may be in the top 10 5. Well, top 10 5. It's gonna be in the top 5 best Marvel films of all time as of so far. And it's just they really did it. They really, man, this is crazy footage that they showed for this, and then it was like, man, this this is fucking phenomenal. Is really phenomenal. And my expectations, like ever since they announced Doctor Strange, since Marvel has a good track record of having at the least decent movies. I mean, there has been like a couple movies I didn't like, but I say at the least as far as financial, critical and stuff, just decent movies. That when they mentioned Doctor Strange, I've heard of Doctor Strange for years, even when I was younger, but I never cared who he was, what he was about, what he does, and all this stuff. But even when they mentioned it, I was excited. Well, not excited, but I was like, okay, Marvel's doing it. Hell, it's just gonna be good, And like as it got closer, and I seen the images from entertainment, and I seen the trailers and everything else, I'm like, okay, this movie look like it's about to be good, But after seeing this footage, it took my excitement level from I say a 5 to damn 10. That's how this footage worked for me. It was freaking phenomenal, just freaking phenomenal. And I just cannot wait to see this movie. And if any of you guys haven't seen the footage yet, I don't know if they might end up putting it online before the movie comes out. But if they do, you will see what I'm talking about. Or just wait till the movie comes out. You will see exactly what I'm talking about. This movie looks like it's going to be awesome. Is there anything else am I forgetting? Forgive me. Like I said, I haven't wrote any of this down, so I'm going like off the top of the head of everything that I remember. But just basically, this movie looks awesome. Everything, Tilda Swinton playing the Ancient One, she looks awesome. And it also shows her in the fighting scenes. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm gonna be dead honest with you. Chuchu or Ejiofor. I don't know. Yeah. Chewy. Man, yeah. Okay, so yeah. His character is likable within this footage. So it's like I'm just looking forward to this movie. This is a movie that is I believe it was on one of my top 10 most anticipated films of this year, and it went higher. This movie looks like it's gonna be awesome. But anyway, let me stop repeating myself. And so that closes out movie notes. Like I said, I don't really have too much else to talk about. But with that said, we're going to jump into trailer reviews. And the first trailer I'm going to review is the latest trailer for Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And this trailer, like, they had me from the first trailer. It looked awesome. But this one just, it gave me a lot. It really did. It looks phenomenal. It looks like this movie, like I said before, this movie is probably going to be as good, or if not better, than The Force Awakens. And just basically, you get a lot more out of this trailer. You get a lot more than what was given in the previous trailers. And so what was basically I got from this is that Felicity Jones's character, I believe her name is Jen Erso, whatever how you pronounce it. I may have to pronounce the names. But Felicity Jones's character, in the first trailers, we got the vibe from her that she's kind of like just a girl that likes to bend the rules, who likes to go against the authority, just basically a rebel. And so even just from her statements in the previous trailers of just being like, I'm a rebel, we rebel, or we're rebels, we rebel, just stuff like that. Just make it seem like she's one of them types where she just does her own thing. Hence Rogue One, or whatever that would mean, or whatever. Which I believe in this trailer we find out that it's kind of like a code that they give or whatever. But yeah. So in this trailer we get kind of a different side from her. That she's just not this girl who just is kind of like hard ass and just trying to be tough, but maybe that's just her outer exterior of like or whatever of what the vibe that we get off of her in the beginning of the movie, and what she gives off to people is make it seem like she's tough, but then later on she kind of breaks down and like is willing to open up to people and actually shows another side. Because in this trailer it's like it shows that she's trying to give hope, that she's trying to work with people and trying to get things done, and we need to go at this mission and we need to do it right, and this and that. So it shows the different layers from the other trailer to this trailer of this specific character, and it shows a lot more action scenes that actually looks pretty awesome, looks pretty good. The fighting scenes, the special effects, and all this stuff. The CG looks incredible. And just everything about this trailer just screams out good movie. As well as we also find out more as well about Felicity Jones's character Jen. We get to find out more about what her basically role is in this movie. And her role is that her father was taken by the forgive me, I'm not a Star Wars nerd or whatever. So he was taken by the Imperials. I guess, I don't know, the Empire. There we go. He's taken by the Empire, and he is critical to their construction of the Death Star. So their mission, of course, to get the plans to the Death Star, but she is in it to really kind of just save her father. Because I guess he was taken away from her at a young age, and she hasn't seen him ever since she was younger. So now she's trying to rescue him and save him and all this stuff. At the same time, get him away from the Empire and get the plans and everything else. So it shows more of like she has more of an emotional investment in this mission rather than just working for the rebellion and all this stuff. And forgive me if I'm getting the names wrong or whatever, but working for the good side. And that to me seems a little bit more interesting, and I like that aspect of it. And I like that the trailer showed a lot of what she's dealing with in them, as well as we do get 2 scenes of Darth Vader. In the last trailer that we saw before this one, it was Darth Vader at the end. You heard his breathing, but now you actually saw him, but for brief seconds. The first one was just the back of his helmet, and he was talking to a guy. I don't know his name, but in any case, and then the other scene was him walking towards. I'm guessing it's that same guy. It may be that same scene, or maybe a different scene, but you see him walking full body, but from a distance, and it's just. To me, I don't know. Like, I feel like they could have like hyped that up a little bit more, because up in the other trailer, I don't know what they're trying to do, because in the other trailer at the end, they ended off with the back of Darth Vader's head, and you hear and all this stuff. So it's like they're hyped, like, oh my god. And then this one you get to see him, but it's kind of like for brief seconds. So it's kind of like if you blink, you miss it. Or if you're like, hold on, let me rewind it, because I found myself rewinding it, and then the part where like you're seeing the back of Darth Vader's helmet, I had to rewind it. Well, I only saw that watching it the second time, and I'm like, hold on, I didn't see this, and that just shows you how quick those scenes went. And I feel like they probably could have did it better, since they hyped them up a little bit, up in the last trailer that they had for it, and then this one it was just quick scenes or whatever. But I guess they're not really trying to make it all about Darth Vader, but that's their cash cow. People know who Darth Vader is. If they see this, they're going to be like, oh, Darth Vader. And it's kind of like Wolverine, with the X-Men and all this stuff. It's, that's a recognizable figure out of everything else in this movie, besides just the name itself being, a Star Wars story, or a secondary title, Star Wars story. and just being a Star Wars movie in general. But I don't know, like, I mean, I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I ain't saying I don't like it, but I'm kind of confused of just what they were trying to do with it. You know, they hype him up in one trailer, but then in this one, it was like just 1 to 2 second little scenes, and that's it. And you don't even hear him talking, you don't hear him breathing or nothing like that. So it's just, I don't know. But overall, yeah, I love the trailer. I had fun with it. You know, it was freaking. This movie is going to be good. It's not going to bring in the dollars that The Force Awakens brought in, because the whole anticipation for just that film itself was just incredible. So, and now since we know we're going to get one every single year, that there's not going to be a 10-year, 20-year, 30-year gap in between, you know, the movies, that, you know, it's kind of like it lowers the expectation. Since we're going to get a Star Wars movie every single year, it's kind of like where our anticipation is for it, but not as big as it was for Rogue One. So, I mean, The Force Awakens, but I know Rogue One is going to make money, especially if it is good. So, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm not a Star Wars geek or big Star Wars fan, but I do enjoy the movie. So, yeah. And so, moving on to the second trailer. So, Netflix has dropped the latest trailer. Well, I guess you could say the first official trailer of their Marvel series Iron Fist, which, if you know, for those who know and for those who don't know, you know, Iron Fist is it's in the same universe as the Marvel movies, the MCU, Iron Man, Avengers, and all that stuff, but it's more on like a smaller plane. And it does connect with Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Daredevil, which they are going to be in a TV series. Well, they're going to have their own thing next year called The Defenders. It's basically like the Avengers on a smaller scale, I guess you could say. And it's just going to be on Netflix as well. And I believe, 12, 13 part series or whatever. But before that even happens, Iron Fist is part of that group. And Iron Fist is one of those characters I don't know too much about. I really don't. When I believe it was like maybe before Daredevil even appeared, like the first season, I was looking up all the, names and, the shows that Netflix was going to do, and I saw Iron Fist. So this is my first time getting introduced to Iron Fist. That was my first time even hearing the name Iron Fist when I was looking up what the Marvel shows that Netflix was going to do. So, seeing this, I'm actually really on board. It looks like it's going to be like Daredevil. And if it is like Daredevil, I'm going to enjoy this freaking TV series. I mean, because they've been knocking it out the park. Daredevil seasons 1 and 2 are freaking phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, check both of them out. Binge watch it. You're going to love it. Jessica Jones, I guess, Jessica Jones is different. It's different. It's more psychological, I guess you could say, rather than fighting like Daredevil was. And then you got Luke Cage, that was kind of like a mixture in between Jessica Jones as well as Daredevil, but it's more Daredevil. And then this one looks like it's going to be kind of like Daredevil. And I don't have no problems with it, as long as it does have its own identity, which Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Daredevil all have their own identity. They might be similar in some ways, but they all are different. So if they have if this has its own identity and it is different from the other shows, and you can put this this show's like that show's like that, Iron Fist is like this, then that would be better for that show to have it keep its own identity. And just the trailer, since I know I'm getting off topic or whatever, but the trailer looked awesome. The trailer looked like this show is gonna be badass. I am really on board in seeing this. I mean, I was before, because I was a big fan of Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and recently Luke Cage, which I think everyone should check out. Forget how black it is, yeah, whatever. Check it out. It's freaking awesome. But yeah, Iron Fist, just from the fighting scenes up in there and just everything that they're doing for this, it looks like it's going to be a good TV series. I mean, I don't know how faithful it is, and are they gonna put him in the actual costume that he is in the, he has up in the comic books, or if it's gonna be some type of variation of it. But whatever they do, they just make it good, and I'll be satisfied with it. But overall, I enjoyed the trailer. The trailer was really good. I'm really, like I said, looking forward to seeing this series or whatever, and seeing what they all got in store for us when it comes to these Marvel Netflix shows. And they just keep on knocking out the park, and we're going to keep on eating it up and keep on watching it every single weekend that they drop. So yeah, that's what it is. And so that closes out trailer reviews. Wow. That closes out trailer reviews. And so on to the next one, which is the Wrestling Corner. Now, I told y'all before that I was going to have a segment called the Wrestling Corner. So if you are not into wrestling, you're probably not going to be into the stuff that I'm going to talk about right now. But I want to get through these quickly. Like I said, I'm not trying to make this episode too long. But it's a few things. Actually, a couple things I just want to touch on real quick. So it's been put out there lately that, well, not put out there, but it's been, it's just been put out there that Goldberg had a interview with Jonathan Coachman, I guess what they believe is on ESPN or whatever, about, if he was to come back to WWE, would it be a possible return? And he like, it'd be possible or whatever. And so one of the things that he was asked was, if he came back, who would he want to face? And so he says a lot of people he would want to face, but then one of the names he brought up was Brock Lesnar. And so this past Monday, Paul Heyman came out, and on behalf of Brock Lesnar, he accepted his challenge. And so now Bill Goldberg is coming next week on Raw to give his answer. Well, not actually, he didn't accept Paul Heyman didn't accept the challenge. He issued out the challenge. Let me get that correct. He issued out the challenge to Goldberg. And so Goldberg is coming this Monday night to basically give his answer, whether he's going to accept it or decline it. And I'm kind of looking forward to this. I don't know what to think more about it, because it's like Bill Goldberg is like damn near 50 years old. Brock is in his 40s. I believe he's in his 40s, but Brock is younger. He's a younger guy. Or, if he's not in his 40s or, his early 40s, he's getting close to that. But even Brock is, Brock is at his peak. Like, Brock is in his prime right now. Like, he is like a monster. But even, he won't be able to do what he does within the next, I basically give him 5 more years. After 5 years, that's when he would start to wear down, if he doesn't wear down before then. I mean, because he don't really have a rough schedule like everyone else. He works part-time. He comes in every once in a while. He only does pay-per-view events, except for this past month. Him and Randy Orton had their rematch in Chicago, which I didn't get to go to. But in any case, so I don't know. It's like, if they do have this match, matter of fact, even if, will it happen? Forget everything else. It's like with Bill Goldberg just being at his age, will he be able to keep up with Brock Lesnar? Because, just storyline purposes or just real life, however you look at it, Brock Lesnar, he's a dominating force. He went to UFC and just dominated there, and came back to WWE, and now he's dominating too. And so WWE then hyped him up to this point where it's like, Brock is unstoppable. Like, basically, God himself could not stop Brock Lesnar. It's basically what they hyped him up to. And so, like, they've put everyone in front of his face. Like, the only person that didn't beat Brock Lesnar, I could say, ever since he came back, I want to say Triple H won one. I don't know if John Cena won against him ever since he came back. And I'm not talking about, like, within the past 3 years. I'm talking about ever since he came back. I believe Brock Lesnar lost to Triple H and maybe John Cena. If not, it's still like, how many matches have he been in ever since he actually came back after UFC, all the way to now? and put all of that number together and take out one or two. It's like, he is a dominating force. So to think a guy like Bill Goldberg, who probably if he was still wrestling and still kept, more like he still keeps in shape. But if he was like at the peak that Brock is and, still, was, able to, for fans to look at him like, oh, he still got it, he can still go. Or, just whatever, like, I think he would probably have a chance, but now it's like he's older. So it's like, is he as agile as he was before? He probably still be as dominant as he was before, but will he give on a performance like Brock could give on that performance? Even though Brock's performance isn't, the most spectacular, he still gives a performance. And it's like, I don't know. I really don't know how this match would turn out. If Goldberg would even be in the good enough health to go into this match. And then it's like, if he goes into this match, what would the outcome be? Because they hype Brock Lesnar up to be this force, but then it's like, do you really want Bill Goldberg to lose, or do you really want Brock to lose? So it's like, I don't know. And then it's like, even if Brock wins, what type of physical health will Bill Goldberg be in after that? Because Brock Lesnar freaking elbowed Randy Orton into the freaking head and made him start gushing blood. So it's like, is that going to happen with Bill Goldberg? So I don't know. But I don't know if this match is going to happen, but if it does, it would be very interesting to see where they go with it after the match, who wins, and everything else that go on with the storyline. Because when you think about it, I don't know if it's going to be one of them hype, type matches that will garner a lot of people. The older guys like myself, older than me, or just, younger, still around my age, that remember Goldberg when he was like actually, wrestling every week and all that stuff. And it's like, it'd be a treat for us because we know who Brock Lesnar is, we know who Bill Goldberg is. So that'd be a treat for us. But like the younger generation who hadn't seen Goldberg and, probably ever, who's probably heard of him but didn't really care around the time that he was wrestling, or, wasn't alive and all this stuff. They don't know who Bill Goldberg is. They don't know what he did. Unless, they go back on the WWE network and look at it, or see something about the rise and fall of WCW and, just see stuff like that, or get told by someone older about Bill Goldberg. But it's like, you just don't get that type of, like, I guess you could say, excitement for it through the younger generation. So I'm really curious to see how this is going to go, because even when like Paul Heyman came out and he was like Goldberg and he was trying to get them chants started, it was kind of hesitant to start it because majority of them kids up in there like, who the hell is Goldberg? You get the older ones like seeing Goldberg, that, but other than that, it's like, who the hell is Goldberg? I don't know. But like I said, it would be really interesting to see where this goes, if it's going to happen, and if it happens, what's going to happen in the match. So I'm looking forward to it whenever they do it. And so that ends that. I'm going to go on to the next and final topic of this Take One podcast, which is still going to be a part of Wrestling Corner, which is Bray Wyatt and how they're utilizing him. Now, oh my gosh. I can basically say that I'm about to throw in my towel with Bray Wyatt. And it's not just him. I guess you could say just the hope that WWE will be able to use him, because I'm looking at everything that they're doing with this character. And even Bray Wyatt came out and said that Vince doesn't get his character. And with that, it's like WWE don't know what to do with him. They just throw him out there. He'll feud with somebody, lose, move on to the next person, feud with somebody, lose, and it's just an ongoing thing. And so I've had this idea This is when the Wyatt family was a whole. I mean, all four members. When they had like Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, Braun Strowman, and Bray Wyatt all within the group. That I think, matter of fact, it was earlier this year. Earlier this year, I had a thought. What if they did it like this? Bray Wyatt was to come out, maybe at the end of a pay-per-view, not pay-per-view, but maybe a pay-per-view, or maybe at the end of a Raw, and just basically all four of them dominate whatever match was going on. And so Bray Wyatt just takes the microphone, and you know how he talks, and he's like, people, I'm getting tired of this. And, he just talk about how tired he is, that WWE is holding him down, they're holding him back, and that, everyone is getting title shots, and he hasn't got like a title shot, and this and that, and people are undeserving, and he's just so tired of it. So he's basically declaring right there at that moment that if they not going to give him the opportunity to do that, he's going to take it. And so every week from then on, it's like he just like starts beating down people. Like the Wyatt family just goes in the back. You will see segments where they just run up on where they just kind of like walk up on Zack Ryder, and they just start beating him down. They put him on the injured reserve list or whatever. And then like say later on that night, they interrupt the match, and then they beat up somebody else. And then every week, it's basically a constant thing where they just do that until they just get tired. And then, let's say, it's a Wyatt takeover, where Eric Rowan and Luke Harper ends up finding themselves beating down tag teams, and end up finding themselves in a tag team match where they're going for the titles, and they end up winning the titles. And let's say Braun Strowman goes for like the United States title or the Intercontinental Championship. And so he ends up winning that title. And then once they got their titles, then Bray Wyatt ends up finding himself within the main event. And so basically getting him to this point is like, the Wyatt family is helping him out or whatever in each match, and they cheating and all this stuff, and he wins. So he finds himself in a one-on-one or a triple threat, whatever match. And so in that match for the championship belt, the Wyatt family gets involved, and Bray ends up becoming the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And so they carry on a long reign with them protecting Bray every step of the way. When every match they get involved or they cheat to win and all this stuff. And so he keeps the belt for months going on that premise and being like the top and just being like this cult leader, like, I'm going to guide you, this and that. And, and I just like, that would be a great storyline to go with, because that would give him something to do, put him at the top where he should be. He's charismatic. He's a good wrestler. Like, he's a good performer in the ring. So it's like, I don't understand why they don't just do something. Like, literally, that's simple. I came up with that idea in like 2 seconds. That's nothing. And they're having a hard time cracking, what it is the Wyatt family is to do, what they are. And it's just, I don't understand it. I really don't. But since they didn't do that, what they do is that they start off with the Wyatt family, Rowan, Harper, and Bray, and they break them up, but then bring them back together, and then later on add another member, and then with the brand split, before the brand split, Luke Harper gets injured, and so during the brand split, freaking Braun Strowman gets put over there to Raw, and Eric Rowan and Bray Wyatt get put to SmackDown, but then it looks like Bray drops Eric Rowan, but then it looks like they're back together, and now Eric Rowan is on, is injured, and then Luke Harper is back in the picture. It's like, what? It's like, what's happening? Like, I don't understand this. Like, you break them up, but then you don't. But then you bring them back together, but then you break them up again. It's like, it's just they don't know what to do with them. So at this point, I guess you say I'm at my wit's end of everything that's happening with Bray. I've given up hope that they're going to put him where they need to be. Now, hopefully they prove me wrong by the end of this year or sometime next year, that they put him in the spot where he can actually grab the world title. But until then, I've lost hope. Every match, any pay-per-view, he's going to lose. Like, he may have another upcoming match in the pay-per-view, or the next SmackDown pay-per-view with Randy Orton, he's gonna lose. You know, it's not gonna be that. I mean, he won against Randy Orton, yeah, but it's like, what are they gonna do with that though? You know, what's gonna happen with his character? Are they gonna push him? Are they gonna do it? Because earlier this year, the fans were behind him before he got injured. The fans were behind him, and it's like WWE does not move on with that momentum. When the fans were behind Dean Ambrose, WWE didn't move on it. But then they give him the championship when the fans gave up hope. So now it's like Dean Ambrose is kind of like, I guess you could say, an afterthought of sorts. Like, don't nobody care anymore. You know, he's just uninteresting. He's not, you know, what fans want anymore. I mean, there's a lot of people that still like him. Like, I'm still a fan of Dean Ambrose. I still find him entertaining. But at the same time, it's like, y'all kind of like, y'all not jumping on it when y'all need to. And that's the same thing with Bray Wyatt. Now, given he was injured at the point where people was about to like really get behind him and accept him. I mean, they were before, but it was like when his name was mentioned, I forgot where it was. I think The Rock mentioned Bray Wyatt, and all you heard was cheers. He got injured, I believe, that same week. He got injured, and so when he came back, they could have continued that, put him on the momentum, and just kept him moving forward. But they didn't. It's like they'll feed him, and then they'll feed him to somebody else. They'll feed him to somebody else, and it's just they just don't know what to do with him, and it frustrates me because I see there's a lot of potential in Bray Wyatt, and it's just they don't go forward with it. They just kind of late jumping on the wagon, and it's, to me, even though I lost faith, I still think that it's not too late for Bray. All they need to do is give him a good storyline, somebody good to feud with, and just go from there. But something tells me that WWE and this creative team aren't going to do that, so they're going to continue to put him out. And they might as well just put him out of his misery. Like, what are y'all doing with him? Y'all might as well just send him over to the TNA. Even though they probably not going to be around for the next... well, they probably just won't only be around to the end of this year, but... shit, let him be somewhere else, you know, just, if y'all not going to do nothing with him, put him somewhere else to where, let him keep the gimmick, to where, you know, he can just go on with that gimmick. Somebody can make something out of it. And it's just, I don't know. It's just real frustrating. But in any case, that's all I really had to say about that. And so... that ends the 21st episode of the Take One podcast, man. I would like to thank you guys. Well, actually, I would love to thank you guys for joining me, for listening to me talk for 40-something minutes about entertainment things, wrestling, trailers, and all this other stuff. I hope you guys join me again. If you haven't, check out my other podcast. If this is your first time listening, let me know what you think. Give me a likes, give me a thumbs up or whatever, comment or whatever, start a discussion and everything else. Share this, subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get more notifications on when I drop new stuff, movie reviews, podcasts, or what have you. Like I said, check out my other podcast. Check out the other episodes. I just dropped episode 20 earlier this week. Check that out. I talk about a lot of things on there. A lot of things. It ran over an hour, like I said. But a lot of, you know, it's real interesting stuff. So go ahead and check it out. You can catch my other stuff. Check out my movie reviews and everything else that I have on my channel, as well as catch me on social media, facebook.com/take1reviews. Twitter.com/take1_reviews, as well as twitter.com/resultsasI1, Snapchat, August C. Jones, Instagram, Take One Reviews, and I believe that's all it for the social media for right now. Yeah. And, of course, you know, again, thank you for checking out this podcast. I hope you guys liked it. And I will catch you guys later. Until next time. Peace.